Homemade cinnamon rolls. Let's get into it. Alright, for this recipe, I highly recommend you getting a KitchenAid or a mixer so you're not doing it by hand. It'll make your life a lot easier. But here's the recipe for the dough, filling, and the frosting. Feel free to pause. Alright, first up, we're going to check out the ingredients for the dough. Everything's already measured out. I did double the recipes, so I'm going to have a lot more than what the recipe makes. Next up, we got the ingredients for the filling. And lastly, the ingredients for the frosting. So first things first, we're going to heat up our milk to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't be like me and have the flame up too high. Turn the flame down a little bit, let it do its thing. It'll get there. I tried to rush it, then I had to wait about 10-15 minutes for the milk to cool down. As you can see, we went above our target, so we had to wait for the milk to cool down because if we don't, it's going to kill the yeast and this whole project will be ruined. Our milk has finally dropped to a nice safe zone. Now it's time to move on. And with our mixer, we're going to start with the milk and the yeast. While these two are mixing together, we're going to throw in our sugar. Following that is going to be the egg and the egg yolk. Next, we're going to throw in our melted butter. Before we put our flour in, we want to make sure everything's mixed together nicely and all the yolks are broken. Here, I'm just putting our salt into our flour. This is bread flour, by the way. You can use regular flour, but it's a very big difference in texture. Now we're going to get rid of our whisk attachment and switch into our hook attachment. Now it's time to put our flour into our mix. We're going to go a spoonful at a time. It'll make this a lot easier, cleaner, more efficient for when it comes to mixing. You can throw the flour in all at once if you want to, but I'm going to warn you. Also, please be sure to scrape your sides. You want all that good stuff. On a clean surface, I'm going to dust some bread flour. We're going to scoop our dough out. It's going to be slightly sticky to touch, but that's okay. That's what we want. And we're going to knead it by hand for about 8 to 10 minutes. I really can't describe on how to knead, so I'm going to slow the video down. This is all I'm doing. Just fold and tuck, fold and tuck. After we're done kneading, we're going to take our dough, put it into a bowl. We're going to oil it, make sure every part of the dough is covered in oil, and wrap it up for about an hour and a half. While our dough is proofing, we're going to make our frosting. Into the mixing bowl is our soft cream cheese, our butter cubes, and we're just going to mix that together. Once those two are blending in nicely, we're going to toss in our powdered sugar and then our vanilla to finish. After everything is well incorporated, it should look something like this. While we're at it, we might as well make our filling. Into our bowl with a paddle attachment is brown sugar and butter cubes. If you do decide to make this recipe, make sure butter is soft in each of the steps. It'll make your life completely easier. Finally, we're going to toss in our cinnamon, and that should be it for the filling. Now it's time to roll our dough out. You can see I went over a little bit, but the dough rolls beautifully. So we're just gonna take this out, get it on some bread flour, divide it, and start rolling out. Once you're done rolling out, you want to grab a baking tray, spray it down evenly, make sure it's non-stick. Then you want to grab the rolls. I cut off the ends just because there wasn't much filling when I rolled it out. Then you want to go for the center pieces, and you can cut to your desired thickness. Once your rolls are all cut up, now it's time to put them in the pan. We're almost there. Bear with me. Now we're going to wrap the rolls up for about 30 minutes so they can rise one more time. Now in this process, when the rolls are doing their thing, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350. And then after the 30 minutes, you can put them into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. That should look something like this. Here goes our frosting, and we're not going to do what Cinnabon does. We're going to give you a nice amount. We're not going to be stingy, free of charge. While I was off camera, I did take some of the frosting and loosened it up with some heavy cream to make a drizzle. But now it's time to dig in. All I can say is soft, airy, sweet, just perfect. Delicioso.